Well, for the first time since the end of April, the Phillies find themselves at the 500 mark. At that point, they were 10-10, but then they began the month of May in good fashion. They got 7 games above the 500 mark, but now as we begin June, they're sitting at 26-26 in 4th place in the National League East. Now, they do have some roster moves from earlier today. Jimmy Paredes was acquired from the Toronto Blue Jays for cash considerations. His spot on the 40-man, well, he was put on because Charlie Morton was transferred to the 60-day disabled list, and Emmanuel Burris was designated for assignment. That means Paredes is available for tonight's ball game. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Ben Davis. We'll talk about Jimmy Paredes and what his role will be with the Phillies a little later on. Plus, we'll talk about some of the Ryan Howard news, which has come out of the clubhouse earlier today. But let's first talk about the way the Phils have started this season. 14-10 in the month of April. They began May with an 8-5 record, but they finished up May with a 4-11 record. The numbers are not drastically different from one month to the next. They just haven't won as many one-run games lately.
No, they haven't, and it really comes down to their inability to score runs, string hits together, and really just you have to score more runs than the other team if you want to win ball games. That's the bottom line. I don't think I'm stating anything out of the obvious there. They did do a few things well. They got some timely hits, were able to score a few more runs, but the bottom line is you can have all the great pitching that you want. Unless you score some runs, you're not going to win ball games.
Well, here's some of the great highlights from May. That was Tommy Joseph's first Major League home run. That was followed the next day with Tyler Goodell with his first Major League home run. It's the first time the Phillies had that happen in back-to-back games where rookies picked up their first Major League home runs since '95. How about some of the defense during the month of May? Peter Borges with a great throw here. This enabled the Phils to win this ball game in Miami.
Outfield play has been spectacular. It really has, and it's something I think these pitchers are very, very thankful for. They get up a few deep balls in the gap, but the speed that they have in the outfield, they're able to run these balls down, and they're throwing with extreme accuracy right now.
Well, this could be the play of the year. Maybe here in Philadelphia, yes, but also in Major League Baseball. How Cameron Rupp held onto that baseball, we still don't know. There's still some remnants of it. Individually, well, Odubel Herrera leading off for the entire month of May, put together a pretty solid 30 days.
He still continues to find ways to get on base, whether that be via the walk or via getting a base hit. He's struggled a little bit lately, but I think you're going to see that turn around. He's just too good an offensive player not to get his hits.
.393 on-base percentage for the month of May. We'll see if that continues as we begin June. It's a tough task tonight because Max Scherzer is on the mound making his 12th start of the season. Meanwhile, Adam Morgan, well, he was roughed up his last time out. All right, we said there were some good defensive plays. Those weren't the only ones. How about some of these? Fantastic efforts with the leather for the Phils defense. We'll get to the lineups and first pitch for tonight's finale against the Nationals when we return. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. By Toyota. For great summer deals, visit your local Toyota dealer or buy at Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places. By Citizens Bank. The next time you have a question about money, don't keep it to yourself. Ask a citizen. By Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of the Phils. And by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Learn more at IBX.com. Three-game series here at South Philadelphia. Let's take a look at the Nationals lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Heisey leads it off in left field, then Jason Worth and Daniel Murphy. Ryan Zimmerman, the first baseman, bats cleanup. Anthony Rendon, the third baseman, hits fifth. Wilson Ramos will bat sixth. In the bottom third of Michael Taylor, Danny Espinosa, and Max Scherzer. And they will face left-hander Adam Morgan. Morgan comes in with a record of 1-3, an ERA of 6.67. And he's going to try to get back to where he was for a lot of last year. He got roughed up in his last outing, Ben. Huge bullpen in Chicago with Bob McClure, making sure that mechanically he was set. And they hope that may turn the corner for him.
We are hoping that does happen. One thing he needs to do is make sure he throws that changeup a bit more effectively. You see that opponent's hitting .455 against that changeup. Four-pitch pitcher sits right at about 91 miles an hour.
Time now for our Nissan keys to today's game.
I just talked about it, Morgan. Make sure you're better with that changeup. Those numbers need to go down, batting average against that pitch. And Max Scherzer, make sure he gets his fastball down in the zone. He likes to make sure he gets that up there and gets a lot of strikeouts with that high heater.
Chris Heisey will lead it off. Heisey playing left field tonight. A check swing, slow roller, right back toward the mound. Morgan's got it. One away. Well, the newest Philly, Jimmy Paredes, is in the dugout and available for tonight's ball game. Pete said he'll primarily be used as an outfielder, but he can play the infield. He's a big guy. They said he could play a little second base, play third base, but he's a big dude.
He is big.
He's been with the Astros, he's been with the Yankees organization, he's been with the Blue Jays, and he's been with the Orioles. Pete said he's liked him for a while. He said he remembers seeing him a lot in spring training when he was with the Astros. Jason Worth is now the hitter. Worth is 2 for 8 in this series. Overall hitting .225. Takes a fastball at the knees. It's 0-1.
If you're Chris Heisey, I can't think of a worse way to start off a ball game. Check swing on the first pitch of the game. Come back to the pitcher.
Go through all your BP sessions. Go through your dry swings, everything. And then
seriously, that's just got to be the most frustrating thing in the world.
He's playing tonight, and Worth is playing right field instead of left because of the injury to Bryce Harper. Just a bit outside and low, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike.
Not a bad spot to miss, though, if you're Adam Morgan.
Boy, that looked like the strike 1 pitch that he threw to Jason Worth. Instead, it's 3-1. Dana DeMuth is the home plate umpire. He is the crew chief. Change up, and it's 3-2. The change up and the breaking pitch from the right-hander is what Worth has had a lot of trouble with during this series. Daniel Murphy waits on deck. A series in which the Nationals have won the first 2 games. Swing and a miss. Worth is down on strikes, 2 away.
You just said it, the off speed and down and away, really spinning off the baseball, pulling off with that front shoulder. He does it again here. And this pitch, really not even a strike out of the hand. But Adam will take it.
So he's got the first 2 batters, but here's the key to the whole series. Daniel Murphy, 5 for 8 so far with 4 runs batted in, a couple home runs. He's just been difficult to get out on a consistent basis. And he is hit by a pitch hit right in the hands, and Murphy's not happy about it.
Take your base.
Right ball he wants. Adam Morgan does not want to put him on with 2 outs. He wants to get out of this inning and go back to the dugout. We've talked about it this series. Murphy does stand right on top of the plate.
He is a very emotional player.
Well, it looks like it got him on the left forearm in the inside as you take a listen to it.
Can't imagine there being any intent there.
I think if there was intent at all in this series, because of the previous series, it was taken care of in the first game.
Yeah.
That was a 94-mile-an-hour fastball from Adam Morgan.
He stands on top of the plate. You have to pitch him up and in. That's really his only hole, I guess you could say, would be that pitch up and in.
That'll bring Ryan Zimmerman to the plate with 2 outs and a runner at first. Zimmerman hitting .244 with 8 home runs and 24 runs batted in. He has 2 hits in this series and 8 at-bats. Harper is not playing tonight because he was hit by a pitch in game 1, hit on the knee in game 1. Zimmerman takes low, 1 ball and no strikes. Adam Morgan has lost 3 straight games. He has allowed 15 earned runs in 13 2/3 innings. There's a liner down the right field line, and that'll be in for a base hit going to the corner. Murphy's on his way to third. Bob Henley's waving him home. It was misplayed by Lowe, and coming home and scoring is Murphy. It's 1-0 Nationals.
It's exactly why you don't want to hit anybody or walk anybody with 2 outs.
RBI double, 25th RBI of the season for Ryan Zimmerman.
Ball really kicked off that right field wall and got away from David Lowe in right field. It's a good swing. It's a nice job of hitting by Zimmerman. 92-mile-an-hour fastball, you can see that, but it just kicks off. You would never think it would kick that far. I think if David Lowe was able to secure that baseball, I think because it was hit so hard, I don't think Murphy scores.
Yeah, or they have a play at the plate.
Yes.
Anthony Rendon is now the batter with a runner at second base. Phillies have lost 5 straight, and part of their issue has been that they are falling behind in these ball games. It certainly happened in the Cubs series. There's a tapper right back to the mound. Morgan's got it, and he throws out Rendon. Side is retired. But the Nationals do score a run after a hit by pitch. Ryan Zimmerman drives in Daniel Murphy. 1-0 Nats as we go to the bottom of the first. On top, Max Scherzer taking the mound, and let's take a look at the Phillies lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. It'll be Odubel Herrera in center field, Cesar Hernandez at second base, Andres Blanco's at third, batting third, then Tommy Joseph and Cameron Rupp. Freddie Galvis, the shortstop, will hit sixth. In the bottom third of Goodell, Lowe, and Adam Morgan. And they will face the 31-year-old Max Scherzer, who, when last we left him, it looked like he was having one of those record-breaking years, but he's sort of evened out over his last few starts. He's allowed 15 home runs.
He's been an all-or-nothing guy for them this year. Stuff-wise, he has the stuff, that's for sure. 5-pitch pitcher. He'll sit about 94 miles an hour. Very good numbers against these Phillies, but again, they have to make sure he gets that fastball down in the zone. You can't catch up to it when it's eye level.
Well, Odubel Herrera will lead things off against Scherzer. Odubel overall hitting .319 with 5 home runs, 17 runs batted in. Odubel's 2 for 7 in this series. He's got a hit in both games. And he hits this one down the left field line. Heisey will give it a look, and it is out of play. 0-1.
And I liken his fastball to Vince Velasquez. It gets about halfway to home plate, and then it just goes into a different gear. Like you see it out of his hand. But he's got that fastball. No, it's not 100 or 99. But it gets there, halfway there, and it just kind of gets on you even quicker.
Breaking ball, and it's 0-2. So he was expecting the fastball, and he got the breaking ball. The thing about Scherzer is that he'll throw more than his fastball. He's got an assortment of pitches.
There's a curveball there. He only throws that 8.3% of the time coming into tonight's ball game.
Well, that was not a clean at bat for Odubel Herrera. So 1 away, a strikeout for Scherzer, his 91st of the season. And Cesar Hernandez is coming up.
Here's 96. It does ride up a little bit on Odubel, but he just rears back and throws it by him.
Cesar 256 with no home runs and 10 runs batted in. He has 2 hits and 6 at bats in this series. This is the spot in the order where he prefers to hit. And he takes it inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Part of his thought process is a lot of times the leadoff batter is aboard. It gives him the right side, which is open, and it also gives him some fastballs because that leadoff batter is aboard. Instead of that right there, and it's 2-0.
He is a very good fastball hitter. Got one up last night off Joe Ross and hit a missile to right center for a triple.
Inside, 3-1. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Michael Schmickel of Easton, PA. Phillies hit a home run in today's ball game. Then Michael will win $200.
Good luck, Michael.
Outside corner. Oh, man. This is an ever-evolving strike zone here in the first inning. Chopper back toward the middle. Charging it is Murphy. 2 outs.
I don't think Ramos made that one look particularly well either.
On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, it took 13 innings, but the White Sox defeated the Mets 2-1. Matt Albers, the pitcher for the Sox, he doubled in the 13th inning, and he scored the tie-breaking run. It was his first hit since 2007. He wasn't the smoothest cat on the base paths, but he got the job done.
All that matters.
Andres Blanco's the hitter. 1 ball and no strikes to Blanco, playing third base today as Maikel Franco gets the evening off after going 1 for 8 in the first 2 games of this series. Pete had said yesterday that Blanco was going to play at some point. He thought he was going to put him at second base, but then he saw Cesar's numbers against Scherzer. He thought, all right, well, maybe I'll play Cesar. Then he was going to put him at shortstop because Freddie Galvis has struggled against Scherzer. But that is the versatility of Andres Blanco. You can play him a handful of different spots. So he got a miss, 1-2. know if the first 3 hitters are any indication. I don't think they're seeing Scherzer's fastball that well right now.
He does hide it a bit. As I said, it picks up. It goes into a different gear.
Swing and a miss, and he strikes out 2 in the inning. Phillies go down in order in their half of the first. We'll head to the second. It's the Nationals 1 and the Phillies nothing. Bob, it's a quick turnaround for Murph as he talks Phil's baseball with the gang. Watch Breakfast on Broad, presented by Virtua, tomorrow morning at 6 over on TCN, the Comcast network. 6, Murph, 6 a.m.
Yeah, I don't think I'm on until about 7:30. So
I get to sleep in then.
Yeah, you know me. I'm such a morning person.
Yes,
so
you are.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So,
I've never been on Breakfast on Broad.
So I have my alarm set. Ben has his alarm set.
Good. Could you guys call me when you get up?
So we're gonna wake you up at some point. And the folks in the production cavity have a list of requests that they'd like you to drop into whatever you talk about tomorrow on Breakfast on Broad. If you can work it in, work your magic.
I will. I'm just excited to get breakfast.
Do you get breakfast?
I'd assume.
I would assume you would too. Here's Wilson Ramos, who takes outside. It's 1 ball and no strikes. So what are you going to talk about?
We're going to talk about the fighting Phils. We're going to talk about anything they'd like to talk about.
Oh no.
Rob Ellis will keep me on my toes. I know it.
1 ball, 1 strike now to Ramos. Adam Morgan allowed the run in the first inning on the double by Ryan Zimmerman. Ramos .327 with 6 homers and 25 RBIs. Little dribbler up the third base line, barehanded by Blanco, and his throw goes right on by Tommy Joseph. And Ramos is going to get to second base. A fan interfered with it. Not that it really matters anyway. So the Nationals have a runner at second base. It has been scored a single and an E5.
Not a whole lot Andres could do with this. We've seen him make the barehand play before, but that's usually from the grass. He's in the dirt here. That makes it that much of a longer throw across the diamond. Not an easy play. Probably one he should have eaten.
So a runner at second base. Michael Taylor will be the batter. He's only been in as a defensive replacement in this series. Playing center field tonight, Ben Revere was playing center the first couple days of this series. Ball in the dirt, blocked by Cameron Rupp. Ground ball to shortstop. And Galvis's throw is just in time to get Michael Taylor.
I like what I see in here out of Adam Morgan in his changeup. The speed of it is good, and the location is even better. It's been throwing it. It's been down, down, down.
Well, we mentioned the side session that he had in Chicago. Murph, you had a chance to talk to Bob McClure and some of the things that they were talking about. We look at his mechanics as this pitch comes in. And Michael Taylor hits it on the ground to shortstop. That was the big part of the discussion, was his mechanics, Murph, when he was working that side session with Bob McClure. Here's Danny Espinosa with a runner at second base. Did Murph already go to sleep getting ready for breakfast on Broad?
I think so.
0-1 Espinosa.
And that pitch is also going to be so much better for him. When you see him with his velocity up like it is tonight, much like it was in the game down in Atlanta, sitting 93, 94. See that velocity up again? That makes that changeup that much better.
In the dirt, blocked by Rupp. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And Tom, to answer your question, which I did hear, I'm sorry, yeah, they're working on his mechanics because Bob McClure was saying he didn't think that, well, he said it's a problem that Adam Morgan brought with him to the big leagues. His mechanics were just a little bit off. He was almost slinging the ball, and his head was not following forward and ending where it needed to be. And it's something that he wanted to change after Adam felt comfortable being in the big leagues. He thinks he's comfortable now, and it's time to just tweak it a little bit. And it's not going to be an overnight tweak. It's not something they're going to be able to fix right away. But as you mentioned, the bullpen session, he's been working very hard over the past week to try and get there, and it'll be a work in progress, but maybe we're seeing some of the results early on.
The other thing that that Bob did is that he sat him down and had him look at his video and compare it to the video of John Lester, who he matched up against that Friday in Chicago. Because Lester, although he throws a little harder, we talked about this on the air the next day, he throws a little harder than Adam Morgan, but Bob wanted him to look at the mechanics that Lester was using, where his head was and how his head stood still and didn't fall to the side as he delivered to the plate. It's not a bad idea to try to emulate somebody like a John Lester.
No, it's not.
Fouled back to the screen. It remains 1-2.
That is a key for some of these pitchers. If you get your head leaning towards one side, most likely for Adam Morgan, his head's going to be leaning towards that third base side. You're going to end up pulling pitches, pulling them across your body, and then therefore that changeup doesn't have that diving, sinking action down and away from a righty. You're pulling it into the righty's bat.
Fly ball left center field. Goodell on the run. So is Odubel, and Herrera gets there. Makes the catch for the second out. Ramos goes back to second. Morgan could see himself out of this by getting the pitcher, Max Scherzer.
Max is a good hitting pitcher coming in tonight's ballgame, hitting .208. It would be nice to get out of this. Espinosa looked like it just got in on him just a hair.
Scherzer hitting .208, no home runs, 3 runs batted in. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-1. One ball, 2 strikes. Off the end of the bat, he stays alive. Be nice to get out of this without allowing another run. We mentioned the Phillies during this losing streak. Counting tonight's ball game, they've allowed a first inning run in 5 of the 6 games. In 4 of the 5 that they've lost in a row, they've allowed a first inning run. In the dirt, 2-2. Now they've come back in a couple of those to tie or take the lead. But it's hard to come back when you fall behind as often as they have.
And a team that doesn't swing the bats all that well this year, putting yourself in a hole it's not easy to climb out of at times.
Chris Heisey's on deck. And a strike 3 call right on the inside part of the plate. Second strikeout for Adam Morgan. No runs, 1 hit. There was 1 one Phillies error. 1 man left on base. Out to the bottom of the second. The season. 7:05 first pitch when the Brewers come to town. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com. It's the first game of a 4-game series against Milwaukee. We saw the Brewers out in Milwaukee already, so this will wrap up the season series. Tommy Joseph will lead things off, and Tommy became a topic of conversation today. Pete Mackanin announced during his session with the members of the media that he had talked to Ryan Howard and that he was going to sit Ryan Howard for 3 or 4 days to allow Ryan to clear his head after what was a rough month of May that includes those numbers since the 12th of May. Ryan was on board with it, and Pete said, listen, I told him to just use it like it's an all-star break. Clear your head, go down and work on some things mechanically in the cage. He said he's fixed some things in the cage. They haven't yet carried that over to the field, and that's the next step. And to Ryan's credit, Murph, he handled it well. In fact, he initiated part of the conversation with Pete Mackanin.
He did, and that's what you want to hear, certainly. You know, Ryan Howard met with the media after his conversation with Pete Mackanin, after Pete Mackanin told the reporters that had gathered here today at Citizens Bank Park that he was going to sit him for 3 or 4 days. And when he talked to him, he said, look, am I happy about the decision? No, I'm a competitor. I want to be out there. He said anybody in this room that would be happy with that decision shouldn't be here. He said, I'm not happy about it, but I understand it. And he took it one step further. After he had the conversation with Pete Mackanin, he walked into the clubhouse, he walked over to Tommy Joseph, and he said, look, you're going to get a chance over the next 3 or 4 days. This is your opportunity to show something. Go out there and kick some butt. That was the message that Ryan Howard delivered to Tommy Joseph. I'm sure Tommy appreciated that. And as far as Ryan is concerned, he said he doesn't believe that he is done, not by a long shot. He thinks he's got some things to work on, as you said, and in his words, to tweak and to get right. And he said, I will, and when I do, I'll be back. So that remains to be seen, but certainly he handled it well today, guys.
Daniel Murphy will take care of Tommy Joseph's pop-up. Ryan is available to pinch hit. Pete made that clear today that he will utilize him as a pinch hitter. He spent a lot of time today in the cage again, working on the tee, and that's part of what they hope will get the mechanics back. And there he is chatting with Tommy Joseph. I mean, he's obviously seen Max Scherzer a number of times during his career, so he can offer something to somebody like Tommy Joseph.
Yeah, they're obviously going to get pitched differently, one being a righty, one being a lefty. But I'm sure that Tommy Joseph has watched a lot of film on Max. But once you get in that batter's box, it's a whole different animal. You can watch all the film you want, but until you get out there and see the release point, see exactly where you want to pick the ball up.
One ball, one strike to Cameron Rupp.
You're right, Tom. There's some tardy swings on this fastball right now.
Off the hands, blooped out toward right, and that will drop for a hit. First hit of the night for the Phillies. A one-out single for Cameron Rupp.
It's a thing of beauty. We deserve those, Tom.
We catchers.
We catchers.
I didn't think you meant we broadcasters. Galvis batting sixth tonight. Galvis 2 for 8 in the series. His 8-game hitting streak came to a close. That one's pulled foul down the right field line.
Is that a quick bat?
He certainly saw that 93-mile-an-hour fastball without a problem. Goodell is on deck. Swing and a miss, and Galvis strikes out. That is the third strikeout for Max Scherzer. That was more like a cutter from Scherzer than anything.
And he does throw one. Those are only about 5% of the time. Actually, a decent pitch to hit.
Well, the cut fastball he's only used 5%, as you mentioned, this year. The fastball dominates that chart at 54%. Tyler Goodell, the hitter. Goodell facing Scherzer for the first time, and he takes a hook, and it's 0-1.
What makes Max very good on the mound is he throws everything with the same arm speed. Never lets down.
Fly ball right field, playable for Jason Worth. He camps out under it, now takes a few strides. No runs, one hit, and one man left for the Phils. We've completed 2 innings so far. 1-0 Nationals as we go to the third. The Jeep Stuff the Fans trivia question. Log on to Phillies.com, go to the fans section for all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, Ben, the question is, what NFL quarterback was selected in the 18th round of the 95 MLB draft by the Montreal Expos? The answer will be revealed a little later on.
Current NFL quarterback?
Yes, current NFL quarterback. Yep. And that is the only hint that I will give Glenn Davis for tonight's trivia question. There's Chris Heisey to lead it off. And Heisey bunts toward third. Morgan off the mound, and he will not get it there in time. So Chris Heisey has seen 2 pitches so far. Tapped one back to the mound his first time up, and bunts his way on this time.
Both as at bats, the ball went about the same distance. One was a hit, and the other was not.
You got to angle it differently to get the hit. There's Jason Worth. Worth struck out his first time up. Jason asks the second base umpire Greg Gibson to shift over. He does not have to do that if he doesn't want to. Some won't. Actually, very few won't. And if they don't, that means they're in a bad mood.
That's right.
We're over to first base. Heisey's back without a tag. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes to Jason Worth. He struck out his first time up. Phillies will see the Nationals again on the next road trip, which will take them to Washington and then Toronto for 2 games. Outside again, 2-0. That seems to be the spot that he's trying to work to get that first strike. Daniel Murphy is on deck. He's got a sleeve over that arm that was hit in his last at bat. At the knees, 2-2.
I just really think that he's guessing up there. A 2-0 pitch and then 2-1. Took 2 heaters. He just keeps staying away from him.
In the dirt, and it's 3-2.
Think Heisey's on the move here?
3-2, nobody out. I would say no.
I would say no for the simple fact that if he does make it, he can walk Murphy. Base open.
He does go. The pitch is lined to right field, low, off and running, makes the catch. Heisey will get back to first. And one out. This Friday will be retro night, 70s retro night, and a 70s retro print will be given out to fans. Compliments of Mitchell and Ness. Phil and Phyllis will be back from the 70s and will be there. Turning back the clock to America's bicentennial celebration. That was actually the last year that Phil and Phyllis were part of the Phillies mascot family. Get your tickets now by going to Phillies.com. It is the first time that we'll go back to 76 since they wore those crazy hats that they will wear again on Friday night. The Brewers will wear the baby blues from the 70s. As Murphy takes inside, they check the swing. He did not go. Good for Adam Morgan for going right back in there.
That's the game plan. You can't vary from your game plan just because you hit them.
Off the glove of Cameron Rupp, and Heisey did not read it well. He should have been at second base, but fortunately for the Phils, he stays at first. Here is the first inning.
Fastball that gets away from Adam Morgan. Daniel Murphy took exception to it.
Off the hands, out towards shallow center. Galvis on the run, makes the sliding over the shoulder grab, and the throw to first not in time. As Heisey slides into Tommy Joseph, who gets up without a limp. What a play by Freddie Galvis. What concentration by Freddie Galvis.
Great concentration, but the presence of mind to get to your feet that quickly and make a strong, accurate throw back to Tommy Joseph at first base.
All right, so the Phillies are looking at this because this is a really close play.
I've said this since Freddie got called. His field presence and his instinct, boy, that is close.
Actually looked like he got him there.
It did. And you have to get out there if you're Heisey. But his field presence,
I think he's out.
Has always been good.
This will slow it down and give us a better look. I think he's out. Ball's in the glove. Foot is now on the bag.
You're right. And they're going to go to it.
It's awfully close, and whether it's conclusive or not is the big question. So Dana DeMuth will take a headset. He'll be joined there by Chris Fagan, the first base umpire. Let's see if this gives us even better look. The foot is not on the bag and the ball's in the glove. It's really close. I mean, it's less than a half step.
How many times have we said, is there enough to overturn it? I think there is.
I think this angle right here, if you slow it down, see the foot's not on the bag yet. Now you see him brace himself. This one, I think this one's fairly conclusive too. Right there, it's in the glove and it's not on the bag yet. The foot's not on the bag.
Right, and you're not seeing the bag move yet either. I saw a fan interference call overturned today. The ball hit down the line at Citi Field. Melky Cabrera was going after it, went up to get the ball. Fan interference, they call the batter out. You don't see them too often.
No, you don't. And that's what replay was initially put in for, was those boundary rules or boundary plays. Well, the folks in New York are taking a look at it right now. Watch it again. Ball is in the glove and the foot is just now arriving on the bag. I don't know if there'll be enough to overturn it. I mean, from our vantage point, it looks like he's out, but again, it has to be conclusive in order for them to overturn it. This is the longest review we've had since that review in St. Louis that was 5 minutes and 1 second. Well, in New York, they'll look at all the replays that we showed you. And here is the call from Dana DeMuth. Yeah, I don't think they must not have saw enough to make it conclusive. So the call stands. That means there was no conclusive evidence to overturn it. Sometimes I wonder if we're missing something when we look at those. It really looked like his foot had not arrived in the bag yet.
It didn't. It did not look like that.
Particularly that shot from over near third base. That's the one that looked like it was clear enough. Actually, I thought the first base shot was clear enough too. Well, now Ryan Zimmerman's the batter. He has an RBI tonight.
We lost in that exchange was how good a pitch that was by Adam Morgan. Get that ball in on the hands of Daniel Murphy.
First pitch to Zimmerman, misses low and in. 1 ball, no strikes. Over to third on 1 hop for Andres Blanco. Plenty of time to throw over to first, and he's able to get him in time. And the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. On to the bottom of the third, 1-0. Is brought to you by your Delaware Valley Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Del Val Honda dealer or visit DelValHondaDealers.com. And by Jefferson. Call 800-JEF now or visit jefferson.edu. Bottom of the third, Nationals lead at 1-0. And the Phillies will send the bottom of the order up. David Lowe, Adam Morgan, and then Odubel Herrera, 8, 9, and 1. David Lowe had a couple hits in yesterday's ball game. He's 1 for 12 lifetime against Max Scherzer. One ball, 1 strike. Lowe tried to check his swing. They appeal. No swing, says the third base umpire, Mike Estabrook. And it's even 2-2. Phillies so far have 1 hit against Max Scherzer, who has struck out 3. Good changeup. 4 strikeouts for Scherzer. And 1 out for Adam Morgan. Phillies fans, the 2016 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot is here. Head to Phillies.com to choose your hashtag ASG Worthy Stars and send them to the MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard on July 12th at San Diego. Vote today. Vote tomorrow. Vote at Phillies.com/votes. Adam Morgan grounds it to second. David Murphy, or Daniel Murphy, I should say, has it. 2 outs. And Odubel Herrera is going to come to the plate. Speaking of the All-Stars, here's the balloting so far. Do you think the Cubs fans are at all involved in this? Yadier Molina, the St. Louis Cardinals. Yoenis Cespedes of the Mets and Bryce Harper of the Nationals, the only guys not wearing a Cubs uniform so far among the leading vote getters. Same can be said about the American League when it comes to the Kansas City Royal fans. Yes. Which was the case last year too. Odubel struck out his first time up. Play, and it's 2-1.
So that's the swing that I'd like out of Odubel. 2-0 count. You know Max Scherzer's he's going to challenge you. That was a good aggressive swing. I'd like to see him maybe start that a bit sooner. But that was it was an aggressive swing, but it was still under control. And he throws that one.
Well, and Scherzer was thinking the same thing, so said I'm going to throw something a little softer here, see if you can.
Exactly why hitting at the big league level is so hard. That was his pitch to hit, that 2-0. I'm not saying he's not going to get another one, but the odds are not in his favor that he is going to get another one.
Ground ball through the hole on the right side, so a 2-out single for Herrera. Second hit for the Phillies.
Almost wanted that one away. That ball came back out over the plate. And he did get another one to hit. See where Ramos is set up, outside corner. See where it ends up, inside corner. Take that all day long. Toned down swing right there. It's good to see. See, his horns were toned down as well.
A little bit. Odubel takes off and the ball is fouled back. The ball's in 1 strike.
He had a great jump there. He said, well, I didn't say there, let that one go. Oh, it's a good one to hit. And he is a good fastball hitter, but I think Odubel had that base clearly stolen.
Time was called at home. Odubel was off and running. I think Cesar called the time.
8:01.
Same thing happened again.
Remember, Max did this at Washington, and we thought it kind of threw him out of rhythm out there on the mound.
Yeah, he's not doing it as much as he did there. You're right, though. He was trying to do it to control the running game.
Yes.
He was looking to hold it again. Oh, with the rain that came through very quickly earlier, it's turned into a nice night here in South Philly. 77 degrees. Hopefully the thunderstorms are done with for the evening. No balls and 2 strikes to Cesar. Change up and strikeout number 5 for Max Scherzer. He had 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 here in the third. We'll go to the fourth with the Phillies trailing at 1-0. Jet printers deliver unmatched quality, and their Jet Intelligent Toner cartridges deliver up to 1/3 more pages. Get yours from who but WB Mason today and experience the difference. Nobody beats WB on HP. Go to the top of the fourth inning. It's 1-0 Washington. They scored their run. Scored its run in the first on an RBI double by Ryan Zimmerman. Rendon hit one back to the boxes first time up, and he takes outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Nationals sit atop the National League East by 2.5 games now over the Mets, with the Mets lost today. That one's hit well out to right center field. Lowe's on the run. He's not going to get it. It's a 1-hop off the scoreboard. And Rendon will pull into second base with a leadoff double. That is his first hit of the series. He had been 0 for 9 so far.
Nice piece of hitting there, though, by Rendon. Take a look at those standings. Mets sit 2.5 back. And the Phillies and Braves.
And now Wilson Ramos, who is 1 for 1. Three straight innings now. The Nationals have had the leadoff batter aboard.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Out of play, and it's 0-1 to Ramos. Powerball is up to $100 million. The Mega Millions at $251 million. The next time you can play, one is Friday, and then the other is Saturday. Swing and a miss. It's 0-2.
It's like he's throwing that slider harder to you. I think it just, I don't think they're seeing that spin on it, but it just seems like the velocity of that slider, they're at 87 miles an hour. He's throwing it a bit harder.
Foul back to the screen. There remains no balls and 2 strikes. Curveball out towards shallow right field. How about that? It's going to drop for a hit. Rounding third and heading for home is Rendon. An RBI bloop single for Wilson Ramos. 2-0 Washington. And Ramos is 2 for 2.
Good job of hitting. At the very worst, he wanted to at least advance Rendon to third base, but gives himself up, waits on it. The ball is elevated. You can see him kind of selling out there just to make sure he gets that ball to the right side of the field and gets a bonus, gets a hit and an RBI out of it.
Well, now Michael Taylor, who grounded out to shortstop his first time up. He's 0 for 1, will be the batter. First pitch inside and low. 1 ball, no strikes. By the way, Ben, I think I was mistaken. I still think you could play the Powerball. It doesn't go off until about 11 o'clock tonight, so you still have time to play that for tonight's. And maybe get $100 million.
I don't need that, Tom.
Remember last year the Nationals were here. They were changing the numbers out there. They were jacking up the jackpot.
That would be a lot of money, though, wouldn't it?
Sure would. Taylor fouls it off to the right. Right, probably buy cheesesteaks for all South Philadelphia with that money.
I would.
9192. What number you got, Ben? 9192?
9193.
Check swing. It's outside. 3-1. Change up, rolled over on foul, so it's full 3-2. How about this play on the previous foul ball behind home plate? He juggled it and then served it right to the young lady next to him.
Hardly spilled a drop. Well done.
Why is he taking the picture? Why does he get the baseball for the photo? She should have the photo taken. She ultimately came up with it. Swing and a miss. Taylor is down on strikes. 3 strikeouts for Adam Morgan and 1 out. He just overpowered him.
Yes, he did. Takes it right out of the strike zone for him. It's a double play here. Have Scherzer leading off next inning. The boys in the dugout to hit. He's an all or nothing guy, isn't he? For both sides.
I didn't envision him being that way when they first brought him up as the second baseman. I really thought he was going to be an excellent second baseman for a long time. But he has turned out to be all or nothing. No balls, 1 strike to him. 0-2.
Nice pitch.
Four pitches though for Adam Morgan. Tommy Joseph will give it a look, but it's out of play. The guy's wearing the shirt we're going to wear on Friday night.
You already have it mapped out, our schedule?
Well, it's either that or we're going to wear some kind of concocted 70s outfit. I don't know whether it's that or the old school powder blue with the old school P. Fly ball, center field, playable for Odubel Herrera. There are 2 outs.
You gonna grow the chops out?
No, I'm going to leave that for Schmitty on Saturday. Maybe grow that beard for 70s retro night.
You better get to growing.
Folks strolling along Ashburn Alley.
It really is a gorgeous night. Nice little breeze.
Scherzer hits it out toward right field. Lowe got a late start. He comes diving in and he makes the catch. Nice play by David Lowe to wrap up the 4th inning. He recovered nicely after being frozen on that opposite field shot by Scherzer. The Nationals do score a run on a bloop single, but the Phils get a little leather to finish up this 4th. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th, 2-0 Washington. You buy Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com to find your RAV4 today. Toyota, let's go places. Let's go Phils. Along with Ben Davis and Greg Murphy, I'm Tom McCarthy as we move to the bottom of the 4th inning. Not a whole lot of offense tonight for the Phillies. They have 2 hits. Max Scherzer has struck out 5. Scherzer has 2 games this year in which he has reached double digits in strikeouts. He struck out 20 on the 11th of May against his former team, the Tigers, which after seeing the Tigers, I can't believe he was able to strike them out 20 times. Followed that up with a 10 strikeout performance against the Mets and a loss his next time out.
That is quite a feat against that Detroit Tiger team.
Averaging 9.8 strikeouts, 9.85 strikeouts per 9 innings. He said that night he was running on adrenaline against his old team. I can only imagine. Andres Blanco lines the first pitch foul into the seats down the right field line. Curveball out towards center field. Taylor on the run back. He'll be a couple steps from the track when he makes that catch. And what away. Tommy Joseph's coming up. It's time for the cold hard fact. Here's Greg Murphy.
All right, thank you, Tom. Presented by Clean Crisp Coors Light. And, well, it's all about Max Scherzer. And how about how good he has been over the last couple of years? You take a look at the leaders for wins from 2012 to 2016 in Major League Baseball. And there he is right at the top, tied with Clayton Kershaw. 74 wins. Pretty good names on that list, as you would imagine. Zach Greinke and Madison Bumgarner as well. David Price on that list. But, you know, it's been a couple of years of dominance for Max Scherzer. Certainly not a one-hit wonder. He has been a guy who has been very good over his career.
Yeah, it's surprising that the Tigers, after seeing them, that they would let him go. But I guess when you get over $200 million that's deferred for a long time, I don't know if the Tigers felt like they could match that. As Joseph fouls the 0-1 back, it's 0-2.
His comment after he signed that lucrative deal was cool.
He left money on the table.
No, he said it's more money than you could ever fathom, and it is.
Well, it's true.
It really is. But at least he knows it. A lot of guys sign those big deals like, yeah, I deserve it.
What? 1 ball and 2 strikes. I don't know how it would come across though if he said he deserved it.
Well, I was.
A little low, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Highest velocity we've seen out of Max tonight at 97. Always able to reach back and grab a little extra.
Tommy Joseph grounds that one foul. Pete was asked today about Tommy Joseph starting tonight against Max Scherzer. He said, I don't know, he didn't look uncomfortable when he faced Justin Verlander the other day.
He's trying to take advantage of every opportunity he gets right now.
Breaking ball and a strike 3 call. 6 strikeouts for Max Scherzer. And there are 2 outs.
That changeup just fooled everybody. Ramos set up away. The ball creeps back. And Tommy thought that ball was in. Probably the last thing you're looking, righty on righty, probably the last thing you're looking for is a changeup out of Max Scherzer.
Considering that he threw a ball at 97 earlier in the at bat. Cameron Rupp waves at the first pitch. Cam blooped a single to right field his first time up. Tried to check his swing and they appeal. No swing. Fouls it back. Swing and a miss. He got him. So he has 7 strikeouts through 4 innings here tonight. The night he struck out 20, he had 9 strikeouts through 4 innings. Phillies trailing 2-0 as we go to the 5th. Two nothing. Top of the order is due up for the Nationals. It'll be Chris Heisey. Heisey is 1 for 2. He bunted his way on his last time up. Boy, he's wasting no time.
He isn't.
Seen 3 pitches, and he's swung at all 3 or bunted at one of the 3. There's one away. Jason Worth is coming up. Phillies Festival will take place on the 9th of June. Tickets are available to purchase by calling 215-463-1000 or by going to Phillies.com. It benefits the ALS Association Greater Philadelphia chapter. There'll be photo booths, chance to get your picture taken with the Fanatic. World Series trophies will be around. And Jason Worth will be the batter. He's 0 for 2. He struck out, flied out to right. Fastball, and it's 0-1.
Just nice about having the leadoff hitter swing at the first pitch. You know this. Most likely, he's not going to. The second guy is not going to swing at the first pitch.
Why does the leadoff hitter keep swinging at the first pitch?
I don't know. But Adam doesn't mind.
0-2 pitch coming to Worth. And he hooks it foul down the left field line.
I will say, though, when you're not accustomed to playing all that often as Heisey's not, sometimes you get in that batter's box, you just feel anxious, like, I have to do it now, I have to do it now.
Tapper over to second base. Hernandez waits for it. 2 outs. And Daniel Murphy's coming up.
Now Jason stayed on and pitched his last at bat. He hit a bullet to David Lowe in right field, lined out. But it seemed like he went right back to where he was the last couple nights and pulling off the pitches. And it's a weak grounder to second base. Watch this swing here. He's just, the front shoulder just goes. It's gone. His hips are out of there. Nothing left. You just drag your hands through the zone. Over to first base. Tommy Joseph will take it to the bag. An easy inning for Adam Morgan.
That was a 7-pitch top of the 5th inning. We played 4.5 on to the bottom of the 5th. The Phils with 2 hits looking to scratch a run or 2 when we come back. For our minor league report, brought to you by Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank, the next time you have a question about money, don't keep it to yourself. Ask a citizen. Scott Kingery had a double and a walk in a 4-0 loss to Tampa. Meanwhile, Juan Hernandez was 2 for 4 with a home run and 3 RBIs as Lakewood lost to West Virginia 19-7. Lehigh Valley is on top of Norfolk 4-3 in the 4th. Taylor Featherston has his 6th home run. Ben Lively so far 3 runs in 4 innings. As Freddie Galvis takes the ball. It's 1 ball, no strikes after showing bunt. The Reading Fightins are in Portland. They lead the Sea Dogs 11-2. Roman Quinn led off the game with a home run. Also has a double, couple RBIs overall. Swing and a miss. 1-2. Served out to left field. Heisey goes back on it. And there's 1 out here in the 5th inning. Well, this is what Scherzer did in the 20 strikeout game. He relied on the fastball, which we talked about. That's what he uses mostly. His slider, which was wicked that night, 29% of the time. And as you mentioned, he doesn't use the cutter that much. He didn't use the curveball that much.
No, he did not. But the thing that amazed me throughout the course of that 20 strikeout performance was he averaged right about 95, little under 95 miles an hour for all 9 innings.
Tyler Goodell takes inside. Well, just to put it in perspective, you know, we mentioned that he had 7 strikeouts through 4. He had 9 through 4 against that Tigers lineup that night. Fly ball down the right field line.
Right at about the same pace, 53% with that fastball this evening. You're right, though, about 20 Ks against those Tigers. I stayed up to about 1:45 last night watching the Angels and the Tigers. Tigers were down 9-2. Kinsler hit a grand slam, able to get back into it 9-9 before I finally succumbed to my sleepiness.
Strike 3 called. 97 on that fastball. And 8 strikeouts for Scherzer.
Here it is, 97. And set up outside, that ball comes back over. The reason that didn't look as good because Ramos thumb down. You always want to make sure as a catcher, you want to catch your thumb up, no matter what side of the plate you're working with.
That 97-mile-an-hour fastball is his top velocity tonight. 95 on that fastball to David Lowe. And he bunts toward third. Scherzer off the mound quickly. Side is retired. 1-3 on the putout. Scherzer's now retired 7 straight. Phillies go down 1-2-3 in their half of the 5th. We'll go to the 6th. It's 2-0 Washington. Is continuing to solidify a spot in the back of the Phillies bullpen. Hector came out firing on all cylinders in April, and it continued through the month of May. He allowed just 4 earned runs in his first 25 appearances. He is among the NL relief leaders in strikeouts, and he was holding righties to an .043 average coming into the homestand. The 26-year-old Neris is having fun. He's sitting down hitters, and it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, Hector Neris has been very good for the Phillies up until the first game of this series. Hey, Ron DeBases is back as the third base coach of the Nationals. And his fate was similar to, well, his fate last year when he was the third base coach of the New York Mets. And after getting knocked to the ground, Iggy then took care of him. Usually Iggy takes care of him, then discards him. There's a ground ball past the diving Blanco to start the 6th inning. A leadoff single for Ryan Zimmerman, who is now 2 for 3.
It's the 4th straight inning. Had the leadoff man on.
4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Well, we are through the 5th inning, so it is an official ball game, and today marks the 1,000th game played here at Citizens Bank Park. This beautiful facility opened in April of 2004. And if you recall, the first home run hit was Bobby Abreu. Phillies have enjoyed 5 NL East titles, 2 National League pennants, 2 World Series since the ballpark opened, and an all-time home record of 545 and 454. And the 1 feat that's on there, too, that was even more tremendous than some of the others. 257 consecutive sellouts at one point. This ballpark was the brainchild of Bill Giles and David Montgomery, and their vision has given Philadelphia one of the prettiest places in all of Major League Baseball. And there's such a home field advantage to this place, too, with the way the crowd gets behind the ball club. And it was never more evident than those 257 consecutive sellouts. 2 balls and 1 strike to Anthony Rendon.
I can honestly say I love coming here to work every night. I love it.
It has not lost any of its luster since it first opened.
Gorgeous.
Line drive off the glove of Freddie Galvis into left center field. Zimmerman, who had stopped, will hold up at second base. And Rendon has 2 hits tonight. And that puts runners on first and second. Hit that ball hard.
I think Freddie was trying to make that transition before he actually caught it to try and double up Zimmerman there at first base. But that ball was smoked.
Rupp will go out to chat with Adam Morgan after he's allowed the first 2 batters to reach base safely. Tomorrow at Quick Slants, Eagles longtime tight end and fan favorite Brent Selleck is in studio to talk about the offseason and what he expects from the team next year. Don't miss Brent Selleck on the next Quick Slants. Tomorrow at 6 right here on CSN. Out toward right field. That is well hit, and it is not coming back. A 3-run opposite field home run for Wilson Ramos. His 3rd hit of the night. It's 5-0. Nationals a commanding lead in the 6th inning. 7th home run for Ramos.
The swinging bunt his first time up. The blooper to right to score Rendon, and nothing cheap about this one. This ball is crushed to right field. He's a big, strong kid who has a very bright future. I say kid, he's been in the league for a few years, but he's just very strong. Trusts his strength. Knows he doesn't have to pull in everything. It's a short swing. Powerful.
Heck of a catch, too, by that fan out there.
Yes.
Michael Taylor's now the batter. Taylor swings at the first pitch and fouls it down the right field line and out of play, and it's 0-1. Well, that's what the 4, 5, and 6 hitters have done tonight for the Nationals. 7 for 9 with 5 RBIs and 4 runs scored.
Ramos, as the season progresses, if a tough lefty on the mound, Bryce Harper's in that lineup, you might see Ramos move up to that 4 hole and give Bryce Harper a little protection.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Swing and a miss and an off-speed pitch, and Taylor struck out for the 2nd time. 4 strikeouts for Adam Morgan. That'll bring Danny Espinosa to the plate. Toward left field, and Espinosa, all or nothing, gets all of that one. A solo home run, his 7th of the year, and it's now 6-0 Washington. He went hunting after that first pitch.
A lot of these guys are very aggressive early in counts. We saw Adam be precise with his pitches early on in the ball game, but these are not where Cameron Rupp is set up. Espinosa's had himself a really good series.
Well, the fact that he came through with the long ball in last night's game, that 2-run shot which helped ice that victory, and now the solo home run here. So 6-0 Washington. Bob McClure out to the mound to talk to Adam Morgan. Brett Oberholzer starting to throw in the bullpen for the Phils. There is Oberholzer. One ball and 2 strikes to Scherzer. Little different night for the guy on the left compared to the guy on the right. Swing and a miss. And Scherzer gets a taste of his own medicine. 5 strikeouts for Morgan. And back to the top of the order for Chris Heisey, who I would assume is going to take a pitch here. Pitcher just struck out for the second out.
I would think he would. I mean, he's seen 3 total already.
Now he's ready to go. Dusty apparently had said something to him after his last at bat. I'll show you. I'll take the first 2 strikes. 0-2 pitch. Outside, 1-2. Trying to check his swing. He went, says the first base umpire. So Adam Morgan struck out the side of the inning, but he also allowed a couple home runs, a 3-run shot and a solo shot. 5.5 is complete here at Citizens Bank Park. The Nationals 6 and the Phillies nothing. Brought to you by WB Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. Buy Nissan. Shop ChooseNissan.com. And by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. The Phillies are going to try a different look. Jimmy Paredes will be the pinch hitter for Adam Morgan, making his Phillies debut. He did have a cup of coffee this year with the Toronto Blue Jays after they picked him up from the Orioles. Phillies acquired him from the Blue Jays for cash considerations. Those are his numbers down in the minor leagues this year. Not too shabby. And he takes inside. 1 ball, no strikes.
He's a large man.
Yeah, much bigger than I anticipated, just from seeing him mostly with the Astros. "6'3", 210 pounds. Foul tip, and it's 1-2. He is 27 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. He has spent 6 years, parts of 6 years, in the big leagues. The most he's ever played in a season was 104 games last year with the Orioles. He had 275 with 10 homers. And he waves the 1-2 changeup, so 9 strikeouts for Scherzer. And we begin the 6th inning with a strikeout. Now to the top of the order for Odubel Herrera.
A lot of guys can get ahead, but Scherzer knows exactly what he wants to do with you once he gets ahead. He knows how to put you away. Yes, he has the stuff to do it. He can do it in a myriad of ways, but some guys you just cannot fall behind against.
Odubel Herrera is now the batter. Odubel has struck out. He's also singled to right field. One's in. It's 1-1. Well, you mentioned he doesn't fall behind that often, because Murph, I would think with his fastball, guys would try to be as aggressive as possible against him.
Yeah, you know, I think that is part of the game plan when you're facing a guy like Max Scherzer. Certainly, I was talking to Cameron Rupp before the game. If you look at the splits that Max Scherzer came into tonight's game with, opponents are batting .344 when swinging at the first pitch and putting it into play. You know, obviously a very aggressive approach. I asked Cam about that. I said, when you see numbers like that, you know, does that make you say to yourself, you know what, I have to swing early at this guy because if I get behind, I'm going to get in trouble. He says it doesn't necessarily change his approach, but he knows that, you know, with a guy like Max Scherzer, you may only get 1 pitch to hit, as Ben, you were talking about earlier. And if you get that pitch, you better take advantage of it and put it into play, because if he gets ahead of you, as we've seen tonight, he is very, very difficult to battle back from. So for Scherzer, it's all about getting ahead. For the opponents and the guys that are hitting against Scherzer, it's all about taking advantage of that 1 pitch, normally early in the count.
Yeah, I think you just saw Herrera get a pitch with the count 3-1, and he missed it. 2 3-ball counts tonight for Scherzer. Inside, ball 4, and Odubel draws the walk.
Despite the fact that it's 6-0, Scherzer opting to go with a changeup there. Just yanks it down and into Odubel for ball 4.
Cesar's 0 for 2. He's grounded out and he's struck out. Off speed pitch again. It's 1-2. Just 78 pitches, despite the fact he has struck out 9 batters.
Usually the pitch counts get up there when you're striking out that many.
Upstairs, 2-2. Went upstairs with a fastball. 10 strikeouts for Scherzer. That is the third 10 strikeout game of the year for him, and the 39th of his career.
That hard riding fastball upstairs. He just cannot catch up to it. This one at 94. High level, but just no way you can get on top of that thing.
Andres Blanco now the batter with 2 outs and a runner at first. And he hits it the opposite way. On the run is Heisey toward the corner. It's over his head off the base of the wall. Herrera's to third. They'll hold him there. An opposite field double for Andres Blanco. The first extra base hit of the night for the Phils.
A good swing his last at bat on a curveball. Drove it out to center fielder Michael Taylor fairly deep. Here he gets a fastball down and away. Doesn't try and do a whole lot with it. He lets the power of the pitch really dictate how far this ball is going to carry. Right at the base of the wall there in left field.
And now Tommy Joseph, who is 0 for 2, a pop out and a strikeout. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-1.
Hard slider there. Swinging a pitch like that first pitch means he didn't read any spin on that baseball at all.
And he lines it out toward left. Here comes Heisey, and the side is retired. He hit it on the nose, but the Phillies leave 2 in scoring position. So they get a hit. They leave 2. We'll head to the 7th. It's 6-0 Washington. Time now for your local Honda dealers game summary. It's 6-0 Washington. 4, 5, and 6 hitters have 7 hits and 4 runs scored and 5 RBIs for Washington. Adam Morgan goes 6 tonight, 9 hits and 6 earned runs. As we go to the top of the 7th inning, Max Scherzer has 10 strikeouts. That little guy's got a pretty sweet swing. He's chopping at the bit to get out there. He's got his Phillies Baseball Academy jersey on. That's what you do when you go to the Phillies Baseball Academy. You get a full uniform, a chance to come to the ballpark. Here's Oberholzer on to relieve Adam Morgan. Jason Worth will lead it off. It'll be Worth, Murphy, and Zimmerman. First pitch just below the knees. It's 1-0. Worth is struck out, he's flied out, and he's grounded out. Opposite way, it's 1-2. Toyota Major League Scoreboard, the Giants and the Cardinals are battling in the bottom of the 6th inning. Giants and the Braves are battling. Brandon Belt's 2-run home run has given the Giants a 4-2 lead. That one is popped down the right field line into foul territory. Lowe coming quickly. Oh man, what a play by David Lowe. A tumbling catch in foul territory. 1 out here in the 7th inning. Wow.
I love that in the fact that you don't let the score dictate how you play. David Lowe going hard all the way. No way that could have felt good rolling on that gravel, but he gets up. Standing play. Worth can't believe it. Come on, man. What a new life. Well done, David Lowe. You see the grass stain on his back, already making an outstanding play earlier in the game.
Daniel Murphy now the hitter, and he fouls it back. How about that reaction from Jason Worth? It was priceless. All the burns on the elbow of David Lowe from sliding onto that warning track.
Well done.
Just a bit outside, 1-1. Out toward left center field. Odubel Herrera is on the run and can't get it. And it's off the wall, and this one's going to roll on the warning track. Murphy, who doesn't run well, is slowly going to third, and he will stop there. It's a triple for Daniel Murphy, his 3rd of the season.
I thought he was going to get there. He tried his best. Just not able to outrun the baseball. This ball really goes into a different gear here. Of course, being a lefty, it's going to be slicing away from Odubel towards that left center field gap. Odubel doesn't even get a glove on it, but good hustle by Tyler to get out there and back him up.
That moves Daniel Murphy's batting average up to .396. We mentioned this yesterday. Only 9 players since 1980 have been at least .393 on the 30th of May. The last one to do it was Chipper Jones, who was at .409 on the 30th of May in 2008. Chipper Jones finished that year with a league-leading .364 average. Goodell makes the sliding grab. Murphy will score. It'll be a sac fly for Ryan Zimmerman. And Zimmerman has 2 RBIs. 2 outs. 7-0 Washington. Think about some of the names that are on that list of players who were at .393 or better on the 30th of May. I mean, Chipper had an unbelievable year in 2008. 364, 22 home runs, 75 RBIs, and he only played in 128 games. He was an all-star that year. Finished 12th in the MVP balloting. But there are others that were on that list. Obviously, George Brett was on that list. People thought he would be flirting with 400. Tony Gwynn, Rod Carew. I mean, how about being on a list with Rod Carew? Where will Murphy finish? Who the heck knows? I mean, we're 2 months in, and he is not cooled off.
He's doing it against righties and lefties.
He's hitting over 350 against lefties. 2-1 to Rendon. He finished with 47 hits during the month of May. The active leaders in hits in a month. Ichiro, your former teammate, had 56 hits in August of 2004. And A-Rod, of all people, in '96, had 54 hits in August as Rendon walks. Shockingly, Murphy wasn't even close to the major league record, which was in the 60s as far as hits go in a month. But 47 still tied the franchise record.
It's just so hard to believe because you have a couple off days mixed in there, and there's only 30 or 31 days in a month. It's just it's a lot of hits.
Over to shortstop. Galvis sliding backhand play, zips it over to second in time. And the side is retired. Boy, nice job by David Lowe and Freddie Galvis not letting the score dictate their defense. Time to stretch here in Philadelphia. Still looking for a little offense here at Citizens Bank Park tonight, being shut out through the first 6 innings of this ball game. Retro Phillies socks for all fans. Compliments of Sports for All will be given out on Sunday when the Phillies take on the Milwaukee Brewers. Tickets can be purchased right now by going to Phillies.com. That 4-game series against the Brewers begins tomorrow night here at the ballpark, 7:05. Chase Anderson against Jared Eichhoff. Well, here are the 3 starts for Scherzer against the Phillies. 24 strikeouts in the 3 starts. Cameron Rupp will lead it off. Little topper back to the mound. Scherzer has time. And one away. Freddie Galvis coming up. Time now for the Jeep Stump the Fans trivia quiz answer. All right, Ben, here's the question. What NFL quarterback was selected in the 18th round of the 95 MLB draft by the Montreal Expos?
Your hint kind of gave it away. I said, is he still playing? You said yes. So
what about
the only one I could think?
There's plenty of quarterbacks out there.
From 95?
Well, you never know.
Tom Brady.
You are correct, sir. Log back on to Phillies.com and find out if you are a winner of a Phillies prize pack. Thank you for playing. Jeep Stump the Fans.
Best quarterback of all time, yes or no?
Tom Brady?
Yes.
No, I don't think so. I mean, he's up there. Freddie Galvis, who is 0 for 2. He has struck out. He's also flied out to left field.
Who's won?
I don't know. You put me on the spot here to think about it. There are guys that I haven't seen or I never saw that you could deem better. I mean, Joe Montana to me is, I think he's still the best, but that's my eyes. Inside 3-0. I mean, Brady's excellent. There's no questioning his determination. There's no questioning his ability to win. Ball 4. Galvis walks on 4 pitches.
Well, I think he's the best of all time. That's my 2 cents.
And I don't think that you would lose a lot of arguments with people with that. Except if we were debated. But, beyond that.
I'd agree with you, Tom, but then we'd both be wrong.
Tyler Goodell is 0 for 2. He's flied out and struck out. Out to left field. That one's hit well. It is gone. 2-run home run for Tyler Goodell. And the Phillies are finally on the board. It's his 3rd home run of the year. And it's now a 7-2 ball game.
One of the few mistakes that Max Scherzer has made this evening. And Tyler Goodell took advantage of it. What a feeling for Tyler.
Michael Smickle of Easton, PA has just won a couple $100 thanks to Tyler, the McDonald's home run jackpot.
There you go, Michael. Ball driven out to left, gets a hanging breaking ball. 86-mile-an-hour slider and drives it out to left field.
David Lowe's had a nice night defensively. 0 for 2. He has struck out and grounded out. Fly ball to short right. And now 2 outs, and Peter Borges will pinch hit for the Phillies. Phillies fans, next time you want to grab Phillies seats, get the StubHub app. Not only will you find seats you'll love whenever you want, you can find the best seat for your buck when you sort by best value. We take the price and location of seats and show you which tickets at StubHub give you the best deal. So get the StubHub app today. Phillies are down 7-2, but she's pumped to see the Fanatic up close. Oh, 2 pitch to Borges. Swing and a miss. He's down on strikes. 11 strikeouts for Scherzer. We'll see if he's done. He's got a 5-run lead. 11 strikeouts through 7 innings. He gave up a 2-run home run to Tyler Goodell. And now we'll go to the 8th inning. The Phils down by 5. Baseball is brought to you by Toyota. For great summer deals, visit your local Toyota dealer or buy at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. By McDonald's, jumpstart your morning with a hot or iced McCafe coffee. Now starting at just $1. And by your local Ford stores. Elvis Araujo will start the top of the 8th inning, take it over for Brett Overholzer, who pitched a scoreless 7th. Taylor's 0 for 3, struck out a couple times. Outside, 1-1. I don't know if Scherzer's done or not. He was having a long conversation with Dusty Baker, then immediately went to Mike Maddox, and I think he may have talked himself into another inning.
I don't see why he would come back out here.
Competitive value.
Yes, but it's already at 96 pitches.
What if, and I'm just guessing here, this is what he did when he went into the dugout. He talked to Dusty Baker. He said, no, I'm ready to go. And then he went to Mike Maddox. It seemed like he talked Maddox into it. I'm wondering if, all right, I gave up the 2-run home run to Goodell. I don't want to leave on that note.
Struck
I understand.
out Peter Borges to end the inning. If I'm the manager, he's out of the ballgame. Through your 96 pitches.
Yeah, but you're also 6'5", and Dusty Baker is not.
He's had some games where that pitch count got up because of the strikeout performances. He's thrown a lot of pitches. And I'm not a pitch count guy, but if you're a team that plans on going deep into the playoffs, even into the playoffs, I know you might say, what is an extra 30 pitches? It's an extra 35, 40 pitches even. In the course of a season, those pitches add up.
Out of play, and it's 1-1. Fastball, and it's 1-2. Scherzer's season high in pitches was that 20 strikeout game when he threw 119.
Even that's not a ton of pitches for 20 strikeouts.
That's true. And Espinosa's down swinging. One away. Time to get updated on what's going on around Major League Baseball. Here is Greg Murphy. Murphy.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. It's our greater coverage of baseball presented by T-Mobile. And big story in baseball, former Philly Marlon Byrd suspended for the second time for performance-enhancing drugs. This time the penalty is 162 games. He cleared out his locker in Cleveland today, told his teammates most likely his career is over because of it. How about what is happening in St. Louis? Yeah, he's 38 years old, you know. Brandon Moss hit a home run today, a pinch hit home run. Number 10 for the season for the Cardinals, pinch hit home runs. That ties a franchise record, and it's only June the 1st, so they are doing some good things. It is, Mike Matheny said, it's a testament to how deep they are on their bench. 10 pinch hit home runs at this point in the season. And how about this, speaking of home runs, we told you last night, Mookie Betts, first 3 at-bats in the Red Sox game, home runs. How about his first 2 at-bats in today's game, home runs as well? So he has 5 home runs in his last 6 at-bats. That game's only in the 5th inning, so he is doing some damage. Xander Bogaerts, though, no hits so far in this game, 0 for 2, only in the 5th inning, though, guys.
Yeah, Bryce Harper had 5 home runs in 2 consecutive games in May of 2015. That's a pretty impressive feat. But I don't think Mookie Betts, you would even consider him a home run hitter.
I don't think you would either. He's probably going to get 2 more at-bats in that game at least. They're only in the 5th. I think it's 8-7 right now, so lots of runs being scored in that game.
Murph, according to the Toyota Major League scoreboard, you are correct. It's 8-7 Baltimore.
I just guessed, honestly.
2-1, the count to Scherzer.
Now 3 balls and 1 strike.
You're right, though, Murph. I mean, Mookie Betts not physically imposing. So for him to that many home runs over the course of a couple days, even 5 in a week is hard to do.
Scherzer takes a cut, and it's 3-2. A line drive caught by Cesar Hernandez. Has trouble getting it out of his glove. I don't know what Michael Taylor was doing. It was as if he was doing some kind of a dance. But he did not get back. A line drive double play. Side is retired. No runs. 1 hit. Nobody left. What the heck is going on? For a Hyundai defensive plays of the game.
Despite the score, the Phillies defense really has shined this evening. Freddie Galvis here gets it started. The over-shoulder catch there. David Lowe comes in with a diving headfirst play off Max Scherzer. Again, despite the score, the Phillies defense staying with it. David Lowe again on the foul ball. by Jason Worth, coming down the line, hustling, making another great diving catch. Outstanding effort there all around, and they are your Hyundai defensive plays of the game, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers.
So the Phillies, as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, are trailing at 7-2. And Odubel Herrera will lead it off against Max Scherzer. Herrera's 1 for 2 with a walk. Throws him a changeup right out of the chute. Scherzer starts this inning with 11 strikeouts. Popped up. Ramos gives it a look back to the Hall of Fame club, which is the Diamond Club. Here's the final out of the last inning.
Okay, he catches it, and then he double clutches, and then he's just trying to.
He never did find the bag. There he goes. Now he found it.
I can't tell you.
The liner out toward left field. Heisey on the run. It's slicing away from him, but he's able to track it down. And there's one away. Well, prior to tonight's ball game, I got a chance to meet Taylor Neron and her family. Her mom, Tammy, her nurse, and one of her friends who is part of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Taylor's out of King of Prussia. And I'll tell you, what a sweet girl and what a great family. She's been battling a disease over the last several years. She was a former athlete, still loves baseball, loves the Phillies, loves soccer. And what a trooper. And she's getting a chance to enjoy a Phillies game here tonight. And it was great to catch up with her and catch up with her family. And if you want to follow Taylor on Twitter to follow some of the events that are coming up to help her with her cause, we invite you to do that. You can also follow her up on Facebook as well. Taylor, who's constantly getting IVs of Benadryl to control the disorder that she has. As that one is looped out towards center field. Taylor got a late start, but Espinosa is there to make a fantastic grab. And there are 2 outs. And Andres Blanco's coming up. Back in the 7th grade, Taylor came down with a flu virus that they eventually diagnosed as mast cell activation disorder and postural orthostatic syndrome. And she's fighting it, trying to stabilize it, and hopes to one day eventually go on to medical school. And we hope that that day comes very soon.
That would be great.
Chris Heisey, who is out in left field, is from Messiah College, where he was a star baseball player and also played basketball. And that is the school that Taylor is hoping to attend eventually. And it would finish off what is a great story. But it was nice meeting her and nice meeting her family tonight. It's great to see that kind of fandom and how important it is for her to, stay connected with her sports, whether it be soccer or with the Phillies. Andres Blanco lines one to left field, and that'll drop for another base hit for Andres. So he is 2 for 4.
Have a good piece of hitting there by Andres. Professional hitter.
Well, they got bullpen action behind Scherzer, but he does have 2 outs here in the 8th inning. Tommy Joseph hit the ball hard his last time up. Up and in, 1-0. Perez and Trinan are the 2 pitchers warming up. One ball and 1 strike.
He has thrown Tommy some really good sliders this evening. Break down there 54% with his heater. Down with the change curve slider, and not too many cutters this evening.
On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Pirates and the Marlins are in the bottom of the 7th inning. Matt Joyce, who's had a solid year, a 2-run pinch hit single for the Pirates. Marlins are a game up over the Phillies in the division. Breaking ball, and it's 2-2 to Tommy Joseph. Tommy's probably thinking, man, just throw me a fastball.
Yeah. Velocity does stay up there because Max, he's first of all, his conviction on every pitch, but he's got a nice leg kick, good drive off his backside, and his follow through with his right arm down and past his left kneecap. He really follows through extremely well. But I think the drive off that back leg is really what sustains the velocity throughout the course of a ball game.
Ground ball foul. Out to right field, Jason Worth will put it away for the final out. So Scherzer goes 8 innings today. He allows 5 hits and 2 runs. We'll move to the 9th inning in Philadelphia with the Nationals on top 7-2. WB Mason delivery of the game.
4, 5, 6. 4 of these Nats were extremely good tonight. None better than Wilson Ramos. 3-run home run to right field. Went from a 2-0 ball game to 5-0 with 1 swing of the bat. That is your WB Mason delivery of the game.
Well, Scherzer looks like he is finally done, content to leave after 8. 8 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 11 strikeouts.
Good line.
Yes, it is. I think we talked about before how effortless it looks like that fastball is just coming on out. Fly ball to center field. Odubel goes back. And there's one away. Every time the Phillies pitchers retire the opposition, 1, 2, 3, which Adam Morgan was able to do 1 time tonight. That was the 5th inning. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Jason Worth is the hitter. Inside, and 2 balls and 1 strike.
Good spot there. Stay out there.
Fly ball left center field. Herrera sprints out toward the alley, and he can't get it. It's off the base of the wall, and Jason Worth will stroll to second with a 1-out double. His 9th double of the year. Boy, it looked like he was going to get to the spot. He really moved.
I thought it was right there, and still about a foot away. He's getting there.
You know, the way Jason swung at that, it was hooking.
Yeah. Caught it out in front just a hair, and that's what made it creep back towards the left side of that gap.
And we talk about the distance that Odubel travels to track down fly balls. Last year, his distance, the amount of yardage that he picked up, was the widest of any center fielder in baseball, according to StatCast. And he had to go a long way there.
Went a long way on the ball that Daniel Murphy hit earlier in the ball game, which he ended up with a triple.
Murphy 396. Popped up second base. 2 outs here in the top of the 9th. And Ryan Zimmerman will be the hitter. Now, barring a miraculous comeback by the Phillies, the Nationals are going to pay back the sweep the Phillies had down in D.C. It's a shame because it looked like Pete Maccannon's team was going to take game 1. And quite honestly, we're in last night's game until the last inning. It was only a 1-run game before the Nationals scored the 3 runs in the 9th inning.
Yeah.
This guy was fantastic last night, Joe Ross, but his offense had only managed a couple of runs against Aaron Nola with 2 solo home runs, and then the 3 runs that were given up in the 9th inning kind of iced the victory for the Nationals. Let's face it, if it remained a 1-run game, and I know it's ifs and buts, but the Phillies got the leadoff batter aboard in the bottom of the 9th inning against Papelbon.
They did, with a double. Odubel down the line.
Very small window, though, for the Phillies with their lack of offense. Swing and miss, 2-2. Off the end of the bat, that'll be over the Phillies dugout. Got him. Zimmerman strikes out. 2 solid innings for Elvis Araujo. Last chance for the Phillies as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Let's see who comes out of the pen. It looks like Trinan with a 5-run lead.
Tried to sweep the Phillies here at Citizens Bank Park. After that's all said and done, they leave town. I'm sure everyone's happy about that. In come the Brewers for 4-game series against the Phils. Chase Anderson and Jared Eichhoff will take the ball tomorrow night. On Friday, it'll be Jimmy Nelson and Vince Velasquez. Then on Saturday, it'll be Junior Guerrera versus Jeremy Hellickson and Willie Peralta on Sunday afternoon versus Aaron and Nola. But before the Brewers come to town, guys, as we know, this one's not over yet. And by the way, speaking of not over yet, neither is Xander Bogaerts' hitting streak. He singled in that game. It's all tied up 8-8, and he is now hit in 25 straight.
Just looking at Jackie Bradley and saying, "I'm coming to get you, Jackie."
He is.
Well, we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Trinan 3-1, an ERA of 3.00. And he will face Cameron Rupp. To start things off. Rupp is 1 for 3 tonight. Max Scherzer goes 8 innings, strikes out 11. He allows 2 earned runs and 5 hits during that time. Fastball in there, 0-1. You go from one guy throwing 97 to another guy throwing 97. Chopper back over the mound, off the glove of Trinan, off the glove of Murphy. And the Phillies have a base runner here in the 9th inning. That has scored an infield hit for Cameron Rupp. He won't get many of those.
He's had a couple peaches tonight. It's been a long night for Cameron back behind the plate. You like to see him get rewarded. But I am partial to the backstops back there, Tom.
Yes, you are. Freddie Galvis will be the hitter. He's 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. And Galvis lines it out to left, and Heisey will make the catch. 1 gone. Tyler Goodell, who homered his last time up, will be the batter. A reminder that the Phillies will welcome in the Milwaukee Brewers tomorrow night. 7 o'clock will be on the air. First pitch right around 7:05. The final Hatfield Dollar Dog night of the season.
got a quick arm. Another guy that doesn't look like he's putting a whole lot of effort into it. Ball really explodes out of his hand.
Foul ball, and it's 1-2 to Tyler Goodell. One-two pitch. Swing and a miss, and 2 outs here in the 9th inning. The Phillies lost 4 in a row to start the season. That was their longest losing streak. They've lost 5 straight and are 1 out away from losing 6 straight. That was the longest losing streak until this one.
Give the Nats credit. They've pitched well. They've got timely hitting.
Runner goes from first, pitches off the leg of the home plate umpire. That would be a defensive indifference for Cameron Rupp. Spoiled up the first base line. Go get it, Murph. Get it, Murph. Don't let Alex get it. Oh.
Keeps smothering those pitches foul. Three balls and 2 strikes. His body almost took him through the strike zone on that one. Ryan Howard is on deck. I wonder if Dusty Baker will bring in Oliver Perez to face Ryan Howard. Three balls, 2 strikes to Lowe. Burying that slider down and in, David.
So that'll put runners on first and second. And Ryan Howard will get a chance to bat here. Dusty Baker. Let's see what Johnny B does here. He's going to go get Oliver Perez, it looks like. Yep. After that 8-pitch at bat. Dusty's heading out. He hasn't signaled yet, but Perez is coming in. And there's the signal. So they'll bring in the lefty to face Howard. Runners on first and second with 2 men down. We'll be back right after this. Pure Auto Insurance presents Phillies Post-Game Live. Ryan Howard has been introduced as a pinch hitter, and Oliver Perez has been introduced as the new pitcher. They have faced each other a lot over their careers. When they began their matchups against each other, Perez did not have gray hair, as he does now. Then again, neither did we. Howard is 5 for 28 lifetime against Oliver Perez with a home run.
Oliver has a ton of different looks. Louis Tiant, Cueto. He'll slide step on you every now and again.
Wait, wouldn't the Cueto have the Oliver Perez look since he's younger than him?
Very true.
First pitch to Ryan. Lays off that breaking ball, and it's 1-0. Interesting, Pete, talking about Ryan Howard's mechanics, how he's worked out some things underneath in the cage with Steve Henderson. Things that now he needs to just carry over into the game. And everybody knows that it's tough to break certain habits. And that's what he's trying to do. Takes a breaking ball inside, 2-0. Runner goes from second to third. That is a pitcher's strike right there. I'm with Ryan Howard. I don't know how often that's been a strike tonight. Fly ball center field. Taylor going back. It's a mile high. He's under it, and he puts it away, and the Nationals have closed out the series sweep against the Phillies, and the Phils have now lost 6 consecutive games as they drop a 7-2 decision. Good riddance to Daniel Murphy. Phillies won't see him until they go down to D.C. next weekend. He had a hot series. Jason Worth hit a home run in the first pitch he saw in yesterday's ball game. And Dusty Baker's team has increased its lead in the National League East thanks to the win here, and the Mets lost, and they've jumped onto the shoulders of Max Scherzer, our Chevrolet player of the game.
5 different types of pitches coming at you. A very good fastball tonight. Tight little slider. The changeup was very good. Throwing it to both righties and lefties. There you see one of them. But he was just very dominant this evening. Giving up just the 2 runs in 8 innings pitched, 5 hits, 11 strikeouts, and just the 2 walks. He had it all going tonight.
Yeah, look at the way he's moving this ball up and down. You know, not only the changeup going down like that, but just up and down throughout the strike zone. And he is our Chevrolet player of the game. So the Nationals sweep out the Phils, increase their lead in the division. 7-2 the final score. We'll wrap it up right after this.